review. Book one one's all about the bookstore run for the last 40 years. So today I have my special guest. She is a somatic parts work and of course SSP provider, no other than Miss Gazit Chaya Nkosi. Welcome, Miss Gazette, on Book One review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to meet you. I'm delighted to be on a podcast about books. Books are my greatest love, my greatest friends, my greatest inspiration. And they're the one thing that I don't know if I could live without my books.
Hmm.
So I'm celebrating books with you. They have played such a huge role in my life and continue to, in the way that I've built a life worth living for myself and share that now with others. So I'm so grateful.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. I miss. Thank you. So today, Miss Gazette, let's talk about what happens when you stop trying to be good. Trauma,
Mm,
spirituality. So let's start with the title central idea of our topic. Stop trying to be good. What are they actually releasing when we let go of this effort? Is it people pleasing, perfectionism, or specific moral framework?
Mm, I think it's all of those. It's any external authority that we have learned to um, orient ourselves to rather than that internal wisdom that we're born with.
Hmm, interesting. And how does a trauma often co-opt our sense of goodness, turning
mm.
into survival strategy rather than a genuine moral compass?
Yeah, beautiful question. So, when we are in the part of our brain where we go when we're feeling scared, that's what's happening during trauma, right? And so, we're actually in the lower part of the brain, and we have lost access to our frontal lobe where inspiration, creativity, compassion, perspective taking exist. And so when we're scared, the only thing that we can do is figure out how to survive, right? We have to figure out what is good to the thing that is threatening us or to the person that's threatening us. So immediately we're going to lose our connection with that inner wisdom because we're going to have to figure out what that threat thinks is good in order to keep safe. And for so many of us, just being born creates that trauma, right? Because immediately we're told, shh, stop crying, calm down, don't be loud, don't want more food, want to be picked up, don't go to the bathroom now, all these things. And so just the trauma of being in a body can be a starting place where we lose our connection with our true self.
Many fear that letting go of striving for goodness means becoming selfish or immoral. How do you respond to that fear and what emerges in the place?
Hmm.
Gazette.
Yeah. Yeah. To be afraid that if we don't follow the rules, that we might become some sort of immoral, scary, selfish person. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there's such a sweetness in that question, right? There's a desire to be good that even makes us scared to trust ourselves. Um, and certainly for me, I was raised in evangelical Christianity, and there's a concept there that's called original sin, right? Which sort of introduces that idea of You're born dangerous. You're born sinful. You're born needing to be scared that if you trusted yourself that you would do something evil in the world. And in my perspective, all of the evil things in the world have happened because someone didn't feel safe. And when you see, you know, the way that the brain works when it's threatened versus when it's safe, you see that attack and violence and even something as small as a misunderstanding is what's happening when we're in that lower brain because we don't have access to perspective taking and understanding and to hold multiple truths at once, all those things that our frontal lobe give us. And so we're reduced to just being like an alligator when we're scared, right? We either attack or we play dead or we run away. Um, and when we come across a wild animal in the world, out in the world, and they bite us, we don't say, oh, they were being evil or selfish. We just say, oh, they're just being an animal, right? That's all the animal knows how to do. And when we're in that fear place, we're just like those animals. That's all that we can do. Um, and so, to anyone who was worried that they were going to be turning into some sort of scary monster if they trusted themselves, I would say take your time, do it slowly, test the waters, right? Ask yourself what feels true to me right now versus what is the rule that I need to follow. And you can even start with just asking, why am I following this rule? To decide if it's a rule that is meaningful to you. And then it doesn't become a rule, it becomes a value. Um, so throwing out the rules or the goodness according to the rules doesn't mean throwing out your values.
Interesting, Miss Gazette. So let's talk about the trauma connection. Can you describe how childhood trauma, in particular, wires us to equate being good with being safe, loved, or worthy of, of existence?
Mm, hmm. Especially that last one, worthy of existence.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So the the neurobiology of it is a little bit more complex than I could explain well. But when we are right fresh uh, born, our nervous system is designed to constantly be weighing out what is safe and what's dangerous. And it's using both the sensory information that we can gather from the world via our five senses, the social cues that we get from people's tone of voice and people's uh, eye movement, their facial expression, their body stance, posture. And then it's also gathering information from inside our bodies. So it's learning, if I eat this certain thing and I get sick, then it's learning that that's not safe, right? So it's gathering all this information, and its job is to determine if there's more safety or more threat. If there's more safety, then its next job is to reach out for connection, which is called co regulation. We can connect with people, we can connect with books, we can connect with nature, animals. Um, but when that balance is that there's more danger than safety, then the nervous system is designed to go into protection mode, which means it's going to change the functioning of our breathing, our heart rate, our digestive system, our major organs. It's going to limit access to rest and digest. And so, over time, especially with childhood trauma, when you have uh, repeated experiences of danger outweighing safety, the nervous system, because it's very focused on efficiency, will switch from opening up the option for connection, and it'll just focus on staying in protective mode. Which, when we have chronic trauma, that's why we often have chronic health problems that go alongside that, because we're affecting our body's functioning when we're in that protective mode, and we're limiting our body's repair strategies. So it can keep us stuck in what we would call like a chronic defense state, on high alert, or um, we'll either have a chronic hypervigilance or sympathetic state, panic, anxiety, or we'll go into a shutdown, like it's not worth fighting, and we'll have a lot of disassociation, depression. Um, and then we often are going to have those health problems alongside. Oops, I don't think I can hear you. I think you're muted.
I when someone begins the unravel this pattern, Ms. Gazette, they
Mhm.
often confront a deep sense of guilt or shame for setting boundaries or saying no. What's happening there, and how do they move through it?
Mm, yeah, it's very scary and can be very threatening, um, to begin to set boundaries. Which boundaries, for most people, understand boundaries as like telling other people what not to do,
Hmm.
but that's actually more of a demand. It could be a request. But boundaries are actually about our own behavior. And so that can be a big differentiation that I work on, that my clients often are working on, is, am I talking about my behavior, or am I talking about somebody else's behavior? Um, when we've had trauma, we tend to think that our okayness is based on other people's okayness, right? If you're okay, then I'm safe and I can relax. But if you're not okay, then I'm in danger. And that is part of the unraveling that, we have the opportunity to explore with this work, is to allow for other people to not be okay, and we're still safe. Um, and I forget what the other part of your question was. You said something about boundaries, and then.
Mm, yes. But let's continue to my next question, Miss
Okay.
Gazette. In many spiritual traditions, there's a strong emphasis on virtue, compassion, and the right action. How does your concept of releasing goodness fit within that challenge this path? Is this about transcending morality or finding deeper ethic?
Mm, for me, there's a differentiation between a spiritual path that is one of curiosity and exploration, and those that, um, maybe you could describe them as more dogmatic, or rule based. For someone who's finds a lot of meaning in those more rule based religions, I think that, there's not a need to break those rules, right? So there's actually, I'm no longer consider myself a Christian, but there's quite a number of those, virtues, like you said, or right actions that I really align with, that I've chosen for my life, but not in a way that I'm scared I'm going to get in trouble if I don't. So that would be the differentiation for me, would be, are you doing this because it's meaningful for you,
Hmm.
or are you doing it because you're scared you're going to get in trouble if you don't? And if it's the latter, perhaps there's room to explore, you know, why are you scared of getting in trouble? Is there an actual power that's greater than you? In some contexts, there may be, right? There's definitely women and queer people in the world who are living with actual threat from family members or governments where they could be physically harmed. Or there could, like myself, there was the suggestion that I have conversion therapy, which would have been physically and mentally dangerous for me, right? So, understanding what's the level of threat, how can we imagine or support someone in accessing resources that will support them in moving away from the threat so that they can actually live according to those things that are meaningful and aligned for them, not just that are ways for them to stay safe.
Miss Gazette, you connect this to spirituality. Does it stopping the performance of goodness create a space for a different kind of connection to oneself, to others, or something greater? What does it feel like?
Mm. For me, definitely, there is so much more space. It makes me think of the Rumi quote, out beyond wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field, and I'll meet you there. The spaciousness of that field and feeling like I can rest when there's not something to be scared of. So that rest is something that I really feel when I connect with letting go of the right and the wrong, the good and the bad. It's the feeling of being held. And for me, actually, I had a near death experience many years ago, and it felt like I was in a gigantic universe size like womb.
Hmm.
I was so held, and it was dark, but it was dark in like the coziest and most held kind of way. Both held and super expansive. So that's how it feels to me.
Super expensive. I like that. Miss Gazette. And tell us, what are your short term and long term goals?
Mm, just to keep enjoying and discovering and being curious. I never thought that I would enjoy life. I
Hmm.
thought I would try to survive it. Um, and now I just was driving earlier before this to bring something to my 14-year-old. I'm divorced and he spends some time with me and some time with his other mom. And I was bringing him something, and the sun was setting, and it had that thing where the trees were black silhouetted against the variegated, blues and pinks of the sunset. And I just couldn't believe that I get to see such beauty. And I'm just free to witness it and enjoy it. And it doesn't depend on me being good or rich or good looking or loved by anybody. It's just there for me to connect with. And I feel so privileged. So I don't have any goals per se, but I have a um, deep interest in continuing to enjoy and explore and experience whatever this thing is that we're doing.
Yes, explore. I like that, Miss Gazette. Explore people because life is too short. Good luck to your goals and looking forward for more success. What would be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Oh, I would say consider being like you
Yes.
because you are designed and created and meant to be here. The fact that you are here is evidence of that. You are loved beyond understanding. And There is nothing that you have to do or say to earn or experience that love. And if you want proof of that, it's because I feel love for you, and there's no good reason. And if you start looking for evidence of love, it's everywhere, and there's not a good reason for it to exist. So it must be real.
It must be real. Yeah, thank you for that advice, Miss Gazette. And can you please recommend a book of books that influenced your journey?
Yes, you're going to have to cut me off because I'm going to tell you all my favorite books. But my number one book recommendation is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning.
Yes.
It's the story of a psychiatrist who lived through the Holocaust and in concentration camps. And it is extraordinary for anyone who says, my situation is too bad. There's no possible way for me to have a meaningful life. He is evidence that you can, no matter how bad your circumstance. The other book I super recommend is Byron Katie's I Need Your Love. Is That True? It's an incredible challenge to the idea that we need other people to be, do, or say anything. It invites us into the reality that our thoughts and our beliefs are the only thing that cause us stress, not our circumstances. Your circumstances don't have to change at all for you to be happy. And then this book is an amazing book. I Am That by Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. It's an exploration of reality that is endlessly fascinating to me, and you can just flip it open and be challenged on any of the things that you think are real or have tos or goodness. It's an incredible book. And then for a fiction book, this book, Diana Herself by Martha Beck, is a really fun one. It's like an allegory fiction about searching for your true self. And it's a fun one because the main character is a warthog.
A work
And
hug.
a warthog. This
Hmm.
is another good one. This is Elif Shafak. It's fiction. It's the 40 Rules of Love, but it's based off of the life of Rumi, who is one of my favorite poets. And it's a really fun and interesting book. And then maybe one more. Uh, ooh, it's too many. This one's very good too. Um, No Bad Parts by Richard Schwartz. And he is the creator of internal family systems, which is a therapeutic model that's non pathologizing and that acknowledges that even our anxiety, our suicidality, our addiction, our shame, our depression are all valid parts of us that are worth understanding and loving and welcoming into our lives.
Yes, and thank you for that recommended books, Miss Gazette. So before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season as well, or coming sixth season next year. Comedy 101 in its third season, and Food 101 is already sixth season at this in December. Geography 101, Love Letters, Movie 101, Review Music 101, our fourth season, Science 101, Sex 101 in its second season, and my baby podcast, Mental Health 101, Law 101, Bible Verses 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and the latest one, Motivation 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Gazette, is there a potential shadow or pitfall to this path? Can not trying to be good ever become its own kind of performance or a justification for harmful behavior?
Yes, I'm so glad you mentioned that. It can, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember Ram Dass saying, once you think you've got it figured out, it's just another game, right? So
Yes.
anything that we try to do that becomes our right path, it then can turn into a performance and another trap. Absolutely. Yeah. So, that's a a great reminder to take a break every now and then, go, eat some french fries, watch a funny movie, don't take it so serious. Remember that there are 8 billion actual ways to be on this planet, and I don't think any of them are the wrong ones.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Let's get it. Thank you. Thank you. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yes, please come visit me on my website, which is therootedclub.com. Make a free time for us to get to know each other. I have a link there to book a call with me for free so we can say hello. I work with people one on one. I have courses. I've also written a book. You can find it on there too. And I'd love to meet you and share, learn about what you've learned on this journey.
Yes, people. Of course, your podcast and YouTube, Miss
Oh, and I have
Gazette.
a YouTube channel. Good point.
Yes. How about your podcast? What's the title of your podcast?
And my podcast is Earth School with Z, about learning through life challenges. And then my YouTube channel is all kinds of nervous system stuff and just life stuff. And my book is called Holy Shit. It's about using life challenges like we do manure. It's all really valuable. And my course is sort of everything I've ever learned thus far in life. And I also have another YouTube channel that's about sewing because I really like sewing. So, yeah, lots of fun ways to connect and explore.
Yes, and one more question, Ms. Gazette. Looking forward, if more individuals made this shift, how could it impact our collective culture, our politics, or our approach to justice and community?
Yeah, when we are wired to find an external authority, it makes it more and more possible for extreme authoritarianism, as we see in so many parts of our world. When we are looking for someone else to tell us if we're okay, it can increase those authoritarian, dictator type governments and religions. And when we come back to ourselves and we don't have to fight or prove or win or dominate, um, and we find our true safety, there's going to be less people in that alligator part of our brain and more people having access to understanding each other, considering different perspectives, allowing for people to have different paths. So, fear really is the precursor to violence, in my opinion. And when we invite in more safety, we can decrease violence.
Yes, Ms. Gazette, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Monica people, see you soon.